and welcome. My name is Ilya Tovis. I'm the artistic and managing director of J by J, and I am thrilled to be joined today by Adar Shafran, who is the producer of the film Douze Points, which hopefully you've seen by now. If you have not, you still have until this Thursday to see it at jxjdc.org. Our conversation today is going to be a little bit shorter than some of our Q&As. So right off the top, I'm going to encourage you, whether you're watching through Zoom or through our Eventive platform, to use the Q&A/chat function to send in your questions. You can already begin dumping them in. I'll just start out with one or two of my own, but really, because we have just about a half an hour total today, I'd love to focus on audience questions as much as possible. Adar Shafran is the owner and proprietor of Firma Films. He's produced such work as Greener Pastures. He's got a short right now that's on the festival circuit called Dina Malul Fights Back that I would recommend when you have a chance to see it. The film Forgiveness, which was originally in our May festival, but I think it has, unfortunately, we were unable to bring it for December, but that's because I think it's got much larger plans ahead for it. So do be on the lookout for that. Maktub, which we played in the festival, The Wedding Plan, 90-Minute War, some great films. Adar Shafran's got under his belt. Adar, first of all, thank you for the film. It was wonderful. It was entertaining, and thank you for joining us from Israel. I know it's evening there, so thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, thank you. It's my pleasure. Thanks.
Great. So let's just start with a little bit. This is an interesting project. In terms of, we were chatting just a little bit before, and I've read a little bit about the timeline of creating this. And originally it was intended and was created actually as a TV series, not as just the film that we all saw. Can you talk us a little bit through where the concept came from, how you got involved, and just the breakneck speed with which this was made?
Yes. So first of all, the Eurovision thing is a Europe music contest that anyone who wins it, the next time it will be in his country. So after we won in 2018, we knew the Eurovision will be in Israel, and then came the idea: what if, you know, us Israelis straight think about, big event? Okay, this is an opportunity to do something. So two friends of mine actually came to me with this idea. It was like 2 months after we won, so we have like 10 months until the next Eurovision. And so they came to me with this idea that terrorists will attack the Eurovision in Israel. And I said immediately, yeah, that's funny. Let's laugh about it because it's crazy. And then we went to Israeli broadcaster, and I did like a small pitch. We pitched the idea, and they really liked it. For my surprise, because it was a little bit crazy. And then we decided, I told the guys, listen, we're going to do that. Oh, the broadcaster told us, listen, it's a great idea, but if you want to do it, we need to air it before the next Eurovision. I mean, the days before the next Eurovision, it will be great. And I said, yeah, okay, let's do it. But we didn't have enough money, and we didn't have anything. We didn't have director. We didn't have anything written. We just had like one pager. So we started, we got into this storm of writing and finding everything and finding the money, and we did it in actually 9 months, which is really really crazy to create such a thing from the beginning to the end. And it was a crazy year. But I think that the logo of the Eurovision this year was Dare to Dream. And I this was like, really, it was a thing with the dreaming. I said, listen, we can do it. I believe in it. Let's do it. Nobody believed I would succeed, but at the end, it was great. And we worked with Daniel Sirkin, which is he's the director. He's also the director of Tehran, if you know the TV
Mm-hmm.
series, which
Absolutely.
plays on Apple right now. And it was crazy fun, and it was crazy year. This was fast.
It's incredibly fast. 9 months for those that don't realize is, I would say probably, Dar, you're more the expert, but maybe double at least fast as a project like this would normally take, and even that's kind of ambitious. So it's
Yeah.
incredibly fast, to be sure. Were you worried at all, or were your investors at all worried about blowback or people being a little bit upset, politically? On one hand, for me, what I love about the film, it's what I call an equal opportunity satire. It's maybe not PC, but it's not PC to everybody equally. It makes fun of ISIS, it makes fun of homophobia, it makes fun of Mossad, it makes fun of everything and everyone. And I think because of that, it's a very effective and entertaining comedy. But did anyone sort of feel sensitive about subject matter, or were you worried about that?
Actually, when we create something here in Israel, we at the beginning, at least, we think about the Israeli audience, and the Israeli audience is open to laugh about everything. I mean, if you would laugh only about the Israeli army, maybe some people will get mad. But in general, I think everybody is open to, not everybody, but most of the people is open to laugh if you laugh about anything. And we here in this movie we laugh about everything, and it's like a big party of laughing about the world, about the Mossad, about the Muslims. It's not about the Muslims. Actually, we are not laughing about the Muslims at all. We're just laughing about the terrorists, which is different. And so, yeah, in Israel, we weren't worried. The minute we started, to travel the world with it, we sold the rights to France, because we were shooting in Paris and everything. So, but the minute we started to travel with it, we understood that some people think we're doing like something really. But I always say, like you said, it's a satire about everything, so about everybody. So it's legal.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it absolutely worked. So I'd love to start turning to some of the audience questions because again, we're doing a little bit of a truncated Q&A. We had a couple of questions that sort of piggyback on the last one, but a little bit more specific. One from Eva that asks, how did Muslims in Israel and elsewhere react to the gay Muslims in the film? And a related question that I'll combine it with from Deborah Ross, sorry. She says, it's a great film, first of all, and has there been pushback from the Muslim world for the portrayal of Muslims in the film?
Yeah. So actually, we're really, we're maybe in Israel it's different because we have Muslims actors in the movie. Actually, the main actor is gay Muslim guy, and we didn't have any backup about this issue. But I believe in the world there are some backups about it. I can't control everything. I can say that in Israel we didn't feel anything like that. We didn't laugh about the Muslims. That's why we didn't have backups. It's not. It's there aren't jokes about the Muslims. It's just about the ISIS or terrorists, which I prefer to laugh about them than it's not about Muslims at all. It's different. Yeah, I know, gay Muslim guy. It's different, but because it's everybody understands it. It's a joke. It's funny. So it's not there's nothing to say about Muslims. We didn't try anything to say about Muslims in general.
Yeah, absolutely. It's you're making fun of fundamentalism and ISIS and terrorists and not Muslims specifically. I'll
Yeah.
share here. It's a comment we got from Richard Sheffers, who shares that his favorite line in the film was about this concept. He says, "ISIS has an artistic director," was his favorite line and concept, which was a very funny moment. Continuing on to some of the audience questions, Donna Gutman asks, were you thinking about the international audience originally when you made the film? It feels a little bit more for the Israeli audience. Curious to hear your thoughts, how you conceived your audience at first.
Well, yeah. At the beginning, we did it. We did it to actually. It was as a mini series. It was 3 episodes for the Israeli biggest broadcasters here in Israel. So it's definitely for the Israeli. We thought about this, as I said before. We thought about the Israeli audience, but it's half French, some English, some Hebrew. I think it's very international, and the jokes. You always they always say that it's hard to travel with the comedy around the world because comedy, in each place it's different. So we didn't try to uh, do the funny stuff that will match the international market. We try to do what we think was funny, and I'm happy to say that we were in many festivals so far. We were in Palm Springs. In Palm Springs Film Festival was really surprising because we came there with no expectation. It was the premiere, world premiere there, and we had lots of screenings. Everything was full. People really loved it. They understood the jokes. They understood everything, and it's always nice to discover that if it's funny all over. Although
Yeah,
it's hard to travel with comedy.
well, that's exactly what I was going to say. I think it's actually harder to travel with comedy if you originally have in mind to try to make it for, if you try to make it for everyone, it begins to be a little bit for no one. I think when you make
Yeah.
it specific, it's actually almost paradoxically more universal. And I think you very much achieve that by just staying true to the vision here. I'm going to continue with some other questions from the audience. We had somebody ask who wrote the songs, including TJ's, and did they have previous experience writing these kinds of Eurovision style pop songs?
Actually, the musician is a close friend of mine. We're working many years now. Um, no, he's actually like a rock kind of guy. He's not, but he did lots of listening and lots of he studied everything really. And in Israel, the Eurovision, it's like a really big thing. Everybody knows the Israeli songs. We won like 3 or 4 times over the years, and it used to be when now we have lots of everything, many channels and everything, but it used to be like let's say 20 years ago we had like 2 or 3 channels, and every year I remember as a child, every year all the family will gather around the TV to watch the Eurovision. Although nobody really love the songs. I mean, it's something to laugh about. It has its own style, let's say. It's
Okay.
different. It's not my kind of music, and also not the kind of music that the musician will like. But he did a big research, and I think he did really good. I mean, the song were really fantastic,
It,
as I
it, it
see. I like
definitely it worked in the guise of the film. What's the name of the musician?
his name is Uri.
Mhm.
Uri. I don't remember the last name. Sorry.
That's
I
okay.
will. I will. I will get it.
We'll find out for everyone interested. But that's amazing actually that this is not his kind of music because he definitely pulled it off for the
Yeah.
film. We had a couple of questions that are similar about art imitating life here. We had Donna Goodman says it's pretty amazing how close to reality of some of the predictions ended up, with France sending a Muslim representative and Iceland doing the BDS displays. What was it like seeing the actual events play out after the film was done? And on a similar note, somebody else asked, at what point did you find out about the gay Muslim performer? And I think everyone's referring to Bilal Hassani here. So maybe if you can touch on those points.
Yeah, sure. So it's a great question. The writers of two of the writers of the film were they're writing for their business, for the professional. They're writing commercials, so they're really into what's going on, everything. In terms of they know what will be next. I mean, I don't know how they do it, but they know. I don't think they predicted it, but they have such a quality of discovering what's the next what will be in the future somehow. And we discovered it was really funny. We went to Paris to shoot for like 5 days, and after 2 days of shooting in Paris, Bilal Hassani won the pre-finals. How do you say it in France?
Maybe like the preliminary round or something.
The
Yeah.
yeah, the preliminary round, and he won it, and we discovered, and it was actually I was thrilled that I found out that it was him, because it was, it's crazy, and also they look alike. I mean, Bilal looks like some looks like our main actor. It's crazy. And so I thought immediately, yeah, that's a great thing for publicity. It will be great. But then we discovered that the French delegation, the real French delegation, didn't like it so much. I mean, we did, after 10 days of shooting, we did like a short teaser to show it straight away. And they saw that this teaser. They didn't know anything about it, but they saw the teaser, and they said, they called the Israeli embassy or the Israeli organization, and they said, listen, we don't want to come. And France is like a big country in the Eurovision. It's one of the five biggest countries in the Eurovision. And they said, listen, we're going to boycott the Eurovision if you will air it before the Eurovision, because they thought we were laughing about French or about Muslims, as you said before. And it was a great thing in Israel. I mean, all over the news, it was like, people talked about it. It was really a big thing. But then they won. And actually, we air it like one day after the Eurovision, because they succeeded. They are strong. We survived.
And
We
absolutely.
surrendered. Yeah.
I'd love if you can touch on a little bit. A lot of the times that we have Q&As and discussions, we occasionally have producers on, but very often we have directors or writers. And so I think our audience might not be quite as familiar with your role versus Daniel's role. And I might even have some misconceptions in this particular project. Can you talk a little bit? I'm assuming you were involved in bringing Daniel onto the project and also in hiring the actors, which is generally the role of the producer. Can you talk a little bit about how you decided to bring them on, and what else you did, particularly as the producer of the project?
Well, I'm a producer who's really involved in all my projects. I mean, from the first word, usually I'm developing my project from the beginning to the end, and I'm not sitting in my office when they're shooting. I'm always there with the monitor, with everything, with the director, sitting with the director, taking decisions. Uh, it's something I do because I really love it. I mean, it comes out of love, not for money, because I don't earn more if I'm there. But yeah, I chose Danny together with the writers. I'm working, I'm not alone. I'm working all the time as a group. And we chose Danny because, first of all, he's a great guy. He did comedies before, he did action before, and we thought it was really good match, and it was a good match. I really love this guy. I mean, we're good friends now, and yeah, I'm involved, especially as a producer. When you choose the director, it's different than, sometimes the director choose you, choose the producer. I mean, if he writes, if it's a writing director, so he's coming to the producer and says, listen, I got a project, you want to be in, you want to be a part of it, and they become partners. And in this case, when you choose the director, it's always it always has a feeling that you are the main commander, and the director will do what you want to do because you chose him. I don't know, but we're working really as a team, and we were good together, so it wasn't an issue, of course. But yeah, as I said, I'm involved in every detail, and every, especially with the story. Actually, I really love the developing side, and so I develop a lot of projects. I have now many projects that I'm developing, and hope I'm right now in shooting in a big TV series with Rama Borstein, if you know the name.
Absolutely.
She's
I
ultra
think
orthodox
we've had her
director.
actually, yeah, as well a few years back.
Yeah,
So that's tremendous.
but
Is
it's
that
not a
public
comedy.
yet? Is that public? Is there a name that people can look out for of the project?
It's called The Fire Dance. It's not public yet because we're shooting it right now, but
Okay,
it's going to be a great series. It's a drama, but it's really, I think it will be really great.
great. Definitely something to look out for. Um, we had another question from the audience about if there was any communication or interaction between you and your team and the Eurovision movie that was on Netflix that you might be familiar with from earlier this year.
Yeah.
It's similar subject matter, but I don't know if you had any connection with them at all.
The only connection, there wasn't any connection. I wish Netflix will say, if we have this movie, come and show your movie together. It's nice, but no, we didn't have any connection. We heard about it through our shooting, and I heard also he was in Israel. Some of the audience shots from the movie were shot in Israel, in the Israeli Eurovision. So this is the only connection that we have, actually.
It's something. It works. And going back to the production question, how involved were you with the casting? Because one of my favorite aspects, I think the casting was spot on. It was really strong. Everyone from obviously the main characters, but also like Zionit, she was amazing. And throughout, what were you looking for? How easy was it to get the actors involved? What was it like working with them on set?
So yeah, I was involved in choosing the actors together with the directors and the writers. Zionit, she is a great actor here in Israel. She played in the Zero Motivation. How do
Zero motivation. Yeah, she was great there
Yeah,
as well. Yeah.
yeah. So she's a great comedian, and we knew she will be great. Actually, the second main actor, Zach Fakiel, his name. He's an Israeli French guy,
Mhm.
and he's not so well known, but we did audition, and he was really great, and I think he did a really tremendous work. Um, and casting wise, the main actor, actually, we casted it in France, and so it was really interesting. We were looking for an actor a long time. I mean, long time. We had like 2 months, okay, to do it, and we couldn't find it. And then when we went to France for location looking and for casting to be there, and he was like the last guy we called, and he was so great, and it was really, God willing, this guy. I mean, it was really great luck because he came out last. But yeah, it was great, and we love him, and I think he did a great job also. So yeah, I was involved, and everybody was happy with the casting. I think Mali Levy, she's one of the most famous actress here in Israel, and she's also a dear friend of mine. She's playing also in Dina Malul Fights Back. She's the main actress.
Mhm.
Actress, you say, right?
Actress.
Yeah,
You're right.
actress. Sorry for my language. I'm not speaking
Just
enough.
fine.
I mean, in Hebrew, I'm good. I promise.
Your English is
Um,
better than you think as well. It
yeah,
all comes across.
thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. So yeah, she was. Everybody was great. I mean, we wanted to do, actually, we were negotiating. I mean, not negotiating, but starting to find out, maybe we'll do another season of this point. I mean, another sequel. But it didn't. Maybe now with Dubai and everything, we have the peace in Dubai, and maybe we'll do something soon. I don't know.
It could work. Okay, we're almost at time here. The one last question I wanted to ask is one thing I loved about the film is it's a very positive portrayal. I know it's not. It's more about entertainment. It's not meant to be deeply political or serious, but in a certain way, I found it to be a really positive portrayal of Israel and particularly multiculturalism in Israel. There's a lot of kind of small bits of, there towards the end, there's a security guard, and he, as he's asking them to come forward, he says it in Russian because a lot of Russians there. Of course, there's a big French influence in Israel. You have Zionit herself, who has Moroccan background. How much of that was on your mind? Was it just because Eurovision is such a multicultural event, or were you actually actively trying to put forward to the world, hey, look, Israel actually does encompass all of these different people?
Yeah, we this is Israel actually. We do have it, and you remind me that really we one thing that I'm really happy with this movie is that I think everyone who watches it, he thinks Israel is really nice. I mean, we showed Israel in a great way. I mean, all the locations and the shootings and the beach, it looks. I think it's something that you want to be there. You want to come. It's not always like this. Israeli movies usually are talking about soldiers and the peace and Arabs and everything. So this one is really, I think, we did a good job in showing Israel the good side of Israel. Um, the yeah, this is the Israeli culture. I mean, we didn't touch everything. I mean, we had one scene with the Hasidic guy in the beginning, and but we didn't do it at the end because it was too much. But yeah, this is Israel. I mean, Russians, French, Arabs, Muslims, soldiers. Everything is combined here together.
Yeah, and again, I love my favorite line, or one of my favorite lines from the film, is when Zionit says, "This is Israel. It's not a war zone. What are you so upset about in the airport?" I thought was a great line and really encompassed that.
Yeah.
Well, Dar, thank you so much for joining us. I know you've got to run. I know our audience really
Thank you.
appreciated it. We've gotten a number of comments here. People just commenting how funny the movie was, how much they loved it, and how much they hope for it to have a broad release. So our hopes are with you, maybe for a second season, and certainly to see many of your other productions in our festival and elsewhere. Thank you again for joining us. Thank you to the audience for being here, and hope to see you
Thank
all
you
soon.
so much.
Okay.
It's great. It's so great to show the movie everywhere. It's so nice. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
We appreciate you. Have a great day. Okay.
You
Goodbye.
too. Bye bye. Bye bye.